All right. We are here to record another Mindset Monday. Hello, hello. Hi, Kayla. How are you today?
I am good. How about yourself?
I am good. I'm a little bit frazzled, so I'm looking forward to kind of digging in and getting a refocus so that, maybe the rest of my day will be more focused.
There you go. Well, that's what we're
I
here
don't
for.
know. I know, right? So what's out for today?
All right. So today's quote comes to us from Ralph Waldo Emerson, and it is, "Nothing can bring you peace but yourself."
Like, can I go back to bed? I'm just thinking, you mean, so here's what I'm really thinking, right? I don't want to take responsibility for all of that. And the only way that I can have any kind of influence is if I take responsibility for that.
hmm
So I guess if I want to be peaceful or focused, I guess I need to do something about that. Is that what that's saying to me right now?
It is,
That
yeah.
feels
And
like
how
it's a
how
message for
ironic that
me.
you were just saying that you're feeling
I
frazzled and looking
know.
for the answer. The answer lies
Yeah.
within.
Right? So tell me about that. Let me because I'm not gonna lie, I'm having a little trouble digesting that right now. But I'm sure if you kind of walk me through it, I'll get to be in a better place. Just kind of
Yeah, so
help
actually
me
I
walk
love
through
your
that.
initial reaction of, oh, the power of that and the responsibility. And it's so true. And you could probably play devil's advocate and say, "Oh, that's not true, Kayla. I've had plenty of peaceful times in my life that had nothing to do with me." But I doubt that, because you can be in the most peaceful, tranquil, serene place that you want to be, and if you in your mind are not in a good place, you are not going to be at peace. And the same can be said the other way around. If you, this one takes a little bit more effort, but if, everything is just, going to crap all around you and the walls are burning down, metaphorically, you can still find peace. You don't have
Right?
to be absorbed into the chaos around you.
Oh,
And I have found that as I've gotten older, the ripe old age of 31, but as I've gotten older,
youngster.
I have found that the more that, quite frankly, I care less about what other people think and what other people are doing, and I seek out the things that serve me and feed my soul, the more at
Mm,
peace that I am. And that's really what this brings to mind for me.
right. So I love this. I do. I love this for a lot of reasons. The dichotomy of the responsibility and the I just don't wanna. Like that's that. I just don't wanna. Like,
Yeah.
can't somebody else create peace for me, please? Um, and at the same time, we've been talking a lot about building resilience and how we recently did a quote that was you've successfully survived 100% of your worst days, right? And this seems to me to be the same kind of thing, bringing that forward. Um, you know, how do we survive those things in the midst of somebody else's chaos? Um, it's really interesting because I'm thinking about being, as we are advocates, and one of the things that kind of pushes us into this world of advocacy is that we want to help people and um, not wanting to, not wanting others to have to go through the chaos of our healthcare system, right? Um, but I think a lot of us as helpers also have a tendency to do this, take on the emotions,
Oh,
or I
for
don't want to say
sure.
emotions, but of others or of our situation or the circumstances or what's happening around us. And so I think that it has to be a mindful effort to create this peace within, at least for me. That's why I was like,
Yeah,
walk me through this, help me
absolutely.
walk through this.
Yeah, no,
Because
especially
it's,
when you think about this in relation to the work that we do, you know, again, the people who do this kind of work, who are so called to serve and to help, we are also the same ones who tend to have a difficult time with leaving work at work and, you know,
yeah.
finding that balance between caring about somebody and, you know, really empathizing with their situation without actually absorbing and taking on their emotions and pain.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And so
yeah,
it
this
has to
does kind
be,
of
yeah.
speak to that. Yeah.
Yeah. Being mindful and, um, so it makes me think about, okay, so what are some things that I do when that happens to me? Um, I think for me, one of the biggest tipping point, and not tipping points, but different perspective changes that I've had around this very topic had to do with when I take on somebody else's stuff or stuff from the outside, when I take that on, I I'm really I can be getting in the way of a resolution or um, a situation or a solution if I'm not careful, right? Because
Right.
my tendency is when I take that on, then I want to do something like fix it, fix it, fix it. When sometimes, and this isn't all the time, but sometimes that really isn't what needs to happen. Sometimes I need to stay out of it and let things evolve. Um, and sometimes things can resolve without my help.
Yeah. And in
For
addition
lack
to
of
that,
a
or
better term.
piggybacking off of that, emotions cloud judgment. And
Mm.
especially in this world of advocacy, you know, I think that's one of the benefits of hiring an advocate is to have somebody who is not emotionally tied to that situation,
Mm.
who can then, you know, be able to execute all of that, you know, front brain conscious thinking so that you know, you as the client can be in that emotional state and be with your family member or, you know, whatever the situation
Mm.
is. So
Right.
we
Yeah,
do
it's
owe it
yeah,
we do owe it to our clients to make sure that we're not taking on all of their emotions. We relate to
right.
them, we speak to them, but we can't take them on as our own. And that comes back to we've talked about boundaries many
Oh.
times.
Just about to bring that up. I was like,
Yeah.
"Ooh, this is a great place to kind of talk about boundaries a little bit, right? And figure out like what do I need to do in order to create a boundary that will allow me to be kind and caring and compassionate and involved and helpful, but will also at the same time keep me from tipping over into um I don't know what that word is that I want.
To getting into a place where you're
Mm,
taking
yeah,
on their pain.
right. You know, and
So
what
I
those
come,
boundaries look like. Yeah,
yeah. So one thing that I find helpful for people who are listening and going, okay, that's great, but what do I actually do? So
right.
I spend my time in the emergency room and I always preach this to new nurses. And sometimes seasoned ones need reminders, but their emergency is not your emergency.
Right.
So, unless somebody is literally actively dying right now, you have time to drink, you have time to pee, you have time to
Yeah.
snack, you have time to take 5 minutes and breathe. For me, I also
Yeah.
like to When I'm at work, that means my husband's home with my son. So if I need to, I'll get on a quick video call with them and see what in the world crazy antics my son is doing right now. And that just really helps to recenter me and bring me back into me and myself and just being back into focus. So then I can step back into that arena, 3, 5 minutes later, calm, cool, and collected.
Right. Right. This is really kind of cool because I find myself, I think, and I don't know how to talk about setting this particular boundary. It's what you just said, though. When I feel myself getting worked up, and whatever that is for you all, for me, it's a physical thing. Like I start talking much faster, my heart rate goes up, sometimes my upper lip will start to sweat. Like there's physical things that happen to me when I get worked up.
Right.
And if I'm paying attention, then I can recognize those, and I need to allow myself and literally walk myself through stepping back.
Right. Right.
Right?
Absolutely.
Like I am too worked up, and not to be afraid to say these things. I've said these things to clients before. Especially if I'm really ticked off about something that's happening to them. I've literally said to them, you know what? I really need to take a break so that I can process this and come up with a formulation of, a suggested action plan, or, but I need to take a break right now. And I'm going to ask that we reconvene in about an hour, or, whatever that might be, literally to pull myself out of it. Because like you said, like when I get into that place, good things don't generally happen. Like
And it's a quick downward spiral, isn't it?
it is. In fact, I might be blackballed from a particular hospital in Florida. They may not talk to me ever again. I'm just saying that might have happened, and it might be something that, I don't want to happen again. So yeah, bad things happen. It's a quick spiral. Be aware to kind of honor those boundaries, and take care of ourselves through the process so that we can keep ourselves in a peaceful place. I, you know, this all goes, we talked recently about self-care and taking care of ourselves through this. And I feel like this kind of rolls right into that too. That,
Absolutely.
if I'm not eating and drinking well, if I'm not moving my body, if I'm not taking care of myself, then chances are I'm not going to be showing up in a quality way for the world.
Right.
You know, so
And it's a
and
lot
then I'm going
easier
to
to get triggered into that like fight or flight response, which is not helpful for anybody.
no, it's really not. It's really
So,
not.
so it's
So let's see,
interesting.
nothing
This
can bring you peace.
conversation, yeah, it's actually
Go
went
ahead.
a little bit of a different direction than I was expecting.
The way,
So
redirect us. Like where we can go anywhere.
no, this was a great path, but I would also like to walk down the other one that I had in mind.
Let's do that. I love it.
So this quote, nothing can bring you peace but yourself. It also brings to mind two other hot topics for me. And it's the concept of don't later your happiness and
Oh,
gratitude. So,
yes.
one thing that I think we see a lot, particularly in our culture here in the US today in 2024, is there is a lot of kind of messaging around our happiness being tied to external things like achievements and possessions. And so what does this mean? A lot of times you'll hear people say like, "Oh, I'll be happy when I get that promotion next year. I'll be happy when I get that new car. I'll be happy when I'm done with school. I'll be happy when the kids are in school." All that kind of thing. And really, the future is an illusion. It is a construct. We have nothing but this moment right now. and you have the power within yourself to be happy in this moment right now. And only you can bring yourself that gift. And I think a lot of it
So
comes from
beautiful.
gratitude for what you do have right now. We spent a whole episode on gratitude not too long ago. But I challenge you, you can sit here and find 5 things to be grateful for, truly grateful, not just because somebody told you that you should be. But the more that you get into that routine of appreciating what you have in this very fleeting moment, that peace is just going to come flooding to you.
Right? That's so true. This so ties in. I swear, all of these tie together
Oh, yeah, they do.
in that really, really they do. In that whole, like you said, um, I'm thinking about later is a lie I tell myself, which I'm pretty sure is a quote that we have a recording on. About later is a lie I tell myself, I'm gonna be happy later. Why? Like, literally, why would I want to do that to myself? I can be happy later, but why does that mean that I can't be happy now? No, I can. Which ties into this whole thing that we just talked a little bit about before about, listen to our intuitive feelings when we need to rest, when we need to, breathe and take a different activity of the day, which goes into so many facets of what we talk about in the circle. Um, building white space on our calendar so that we have the ability to move things and to do things differently. I just, so I have particular days of the week that I keep more white time than others. And it's not like I don't broadcast that, right? That's just for me for most of the time to know. But it allows me to show up in my life in a way that makes me happy every day. Every day. Because if my sister calls me on one of these short notice and says, "Hey, this is happening. I'd love for you to go with me." Then I can look at my calendar and I can juggle things around. I mean, there's always some things that are they're not negotiable, like I can't move them. But the more I'm able to play with that, the more I'm able to do things and be on in the mind space of, instead of, oh, I have to go do this, I'm in the mindset of, oh, I get to go do
Right,
this,
right.
which ultimately it ties to that gratitude, ties to that, being happy right now, you know, because it is all we have. And I don't know about you, but it's one of the reasons that I started my own business was so that I could do that stuff, I didn't have to ask permission to move my calendar around.
Right. That's the reason I
And
haven't
it
worked a
does,
full-time job in 5 years.
and that's designing. I have a picture that I'm going to be hanging on one of these blank spaces that literally says she designed a life she loved. And when I saw that, I fell in love with it. I was like, that's what I've been doing. And I love my life. Um, wow. So it's a lot of responsibility, but boy, it feels good
Yeah,
most of the time.
yeah. It is easier to stay in that kind of victim of my circumstances mentality. And I think we probably all know people who sadly are stuck in that place, or, maybe we have experienced that thought pattern before. And
Right?
that is really closely tied to that ego brain, that primal brain, Dave,
Mm-hmm. Right?
because it is,
Doggone Dave.
it does feel more vulnerable, and then ultimately comes with more responsibility to step into that higher realization of, no, you do have the power and the control of, your mind, and then therefore your happiness and so on.
It's so true, and I think that I would be remiss if I didn't say that there's a lot of years that I spent in that mentality, that victim of circumstance.
Yeah, woe is me. Why me? Why does this keep happening?
Right. The truth is sometimes, like, there are times in life where things do happen to us. Like, literally, legitimately, bad things happen that we could not have prevented or we couldn't have done, right? And this goes to that quote, life is 90% or 10% what happens to me and 90% how I respond to it.
Hmm.
This is the illustration of that,
Yeah.
is that, but it is easy to get into, we call, I learned to call this justifiable anger.
Oh, that's a
And
good one.
yeah. So it's justifiable. Like, I have reason to be angry because something bad happened that I couldn't have prevented, that wasn't nice, that, shouldn't have happened, but did, right? Um, and so I personally got into this problem of falling into justifiable anger and staying there because it was justified. And it prevented me from creating happiness because I was too busy justifying my anger. And so I just want to say that, because sometimes I think I spend a lot of time sharing the good stuff and not acknowledging, hey guys, I know, like, we all get stuck from time to time in these justifiable anger or victim mentality, or because we're human. And this mindset work is work that we can do to help us overcome that.
And continue
Um,
to do. That's why we show up every Monday and not just once.
yeah, right? I know, right? Oh, good, that's done. I'm all
Yeah,
better now.
not how that works.
Nope, 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 nope. I love it. I love it. So yeah, gratitude. Um,
And I just want to
yeah.
speak back to that justifiable anger.
Mm.
It's very real, and it
Mhm.
can feel very in control when it is justified. But is it serving you? No.
No, it's not.
Gotta let that ish
No,
go.
it's not. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Believe me, I know it's easier said than done. I'll be in the spirit of full
Yeah.
transparency.
Yeah.
This first trimester and then third trimester, these hormones, I've been super ragey. So I hear you.
Pardon.
Your girl is over here having to like practice and struggle through these things every day right now.
Real. It's real. It is real. It is real. I mean, yeah.
Some days I'm
Yeah.
like, who am
So,
I? Like, why am I so mad?
right? Well, cause sometimes it's just cause.
Right? The wind blew the wrong way. No, I'm not quite that bad,
That's
but
it. Yeah. I don't know. Some days I can be that. Like, really, really full transparency. Some days I can be that bad. Um, and those are the days that I try not to interact with anyone. I am not peopling today. That's not safe for any of us. Um, so nothing can bring you peace but yourself. I love this in the fact that um, the bad news is that I have to do it for myself, and the good news is I have to do it for myself.
that you
Like,
get to do it for
literally,
yourself.
yeah, that's right. I get to. That's right.
And
I
you
get
don't
to do
have
it for
to
myself.
wait around on anybody or anything else. It is all
That's right.
your gift.
How wonderful is that, right? Because when I think about all of the times that I'm like, well, I would be okay if you did this and you did that and you did that. This is one of those places I can be okay no matter
Yeah,
what. No matter what, which is really, really empowering when I think about it that way, right?
it is. It is.
I
And
don't
that's what I was going to say. Like, there's so much freedom in that responsibility.
Yeah. There it is. All right. Did we go down all of the little roads that we had hoped to go down on this one?
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. So what's your call to action? What do we want to hear from folks this week? Do we want to hear how they, maybe how do you, as you're listening or watching, how do you recenter and regain your peace when you feel like you're losing control? Are there things that you do, or phrases or pictures that you look at, or a win board that makes you, I like to go back and read my client testimonials. That helps me get into a better place. So what other things? Anything you can think of,
What are
Kayla?
your some of your strategies to come back to center? And perhaps what are some of the boundaries that you have around your client
Oh, yeah.
work to keep you from getting into that overly into their emotional place? And furthermore, have you caught yourself getting into that my happiness will come later kind of mentality? What was that about? What's something that you're working on now? What's something that you have overcome in that area? What are some things that you're grateful for that help to bring that peace and happiness now?
Love it. Lots to think about for the week.
Yeah.
I hope it's been helpful. I hope that everybody has a great week, and we'll see you back here next week.
All right. Sounds great. Bye bye.
Bye.